My name is Lillian Cornelius. I'm 32, and I head the marketing department at Meridian. Every bit of my success is carved out of stubborn determination. No one ever paved the way for me. I juggled classes with 2 part-time jobs to cover rent and groceries, took out student loans, and swallowed exhaustion until it became second nature. The only help I ever got was my grandfather covering my first year's tuition. After he passed, I was on my own. My parents, Robert and Margaret, weren't cruel in the way you'd see on the surface. They were polite, even charming in public. But when it came to me, I was invisible. My younger sister, Diana, was their golden girl, their pride, their excuse for every celebration. She got the best clothes, the latest gadgets, endless praise for simply existing. I became a background character in my own family. So when my mother called me one quiet Sunday morning, her voice unusually bright, I almost thought she'd dialed the wrong number. "Lillian, darling, congratulations on the promotion." I blinked at my coffee mug. "Thanks, Mom. That was 2 weeks ago." 2 weeks. Her voice pitched upward, fake surprise coloring every syllable. "Well, why didn't you tell us?" "This calls for a celebration." Her tone was too cheerful, almost rehearsed. My parents had never celebrated any of my promotions or even my college graduation. Why start now? "I already had drinks with some coworkers," I said cautiously. "Nonsense," she cut me off. "This is big head of department. Your father and I insist on throwing you a proper party. All the relatives, decorations, catering, music. It'll be perfect." I sat there stirring my coffee long after the sugar had dissolved. Something inside me whispered not to trust it. But another part of me, the part that still wanted to believe my parents could change, clung to her words. "Well, if you're sure," I said. "Oh, it's settled then," she chirped. Then came the pause, too deliberate. "We'll just need about $2,500 from you to cover expenses. That way you don't have to worry about a thing." The spoon clinked against my mug as I froze. Of course, nothing from them ever came without a price tag. But against my better judgment, I agreed. Maybe this was their awkward way of trying to make amends. Maybe this was the long overdue recognition I'd always craved. That week flew by. I buried myself in work, but every night I caught myself daydreaming about the party. I imagined relatives clapping me on the back, saying how proud they were. I imagined my parents finally looking at me, not past me. On Saturday, I spent hours getting ready. I chose a navy cocktail dress, elegant, but not flashy, the kind of outfit that said, "I earned this." My reflection in the mirror looked composed, but my pulse raced with an old, fragile hope. Driving up to my parents' suburban home, I noticed the street already lined with cars. They hadn't exaggerated. The whole extended family was here. My heart fluttered with anticipation and a thread of dread. The front door opened, spilling warm light and the hum of chatter. Streamers and balloons hung everywhere, glittering in gold. For a fleeting second, I allowed myself to believe this night would be different. But as I stepped into the house, a strange hush settled over me. Smiles were polite nods, perfunctory. No one rushed to congratulate me. No one mentioned my name. I told myself I was imagining it. Still unease coiled low in my stomach, whispering, it felt too good to be true. The scent of catered food hung in the air. Trays of hors d'oeuvres gliding past me on silver platters. My aunt kissed my cheek. My uncle clapped me lightly on the shoulder. But not a word of congratulation slipped from their lips. Their eyes darted past me toward the staircase as if they were waiting for someone else. Then I saw it. A massive banner stretched across the far wall, shimmering under the chandelier light. Bold gold letters spelled it out. "Congratulations, Diana." My breath caught in my throat. My heels stilled on the hardwood floor. For a second, I thought maybe there was another banner mine hidden somewhere else. But no, just one. Lillian, my cousin Jen, appeared at my side, swirling a glass of wine. "You look amazing." "Thanks," I managed. My voice cracked. Weird being the guest of honor here. Jen frowned, confused. Guest of honor. Before I could explain, laughter rippled through the crowd. All heads turned toward the staircase. And there she was. Diana descended slowly, like she'd been rehearsing the moment for weeks. A crimson dress hugged her frame, her curls styled to perfection. Behind her, my parents followed, glowing with pride, as though they were escorting royalty. Lillian Diana beamed, as though nothing in the world was amiss. "Come join the party." I forced a smile that felt like glass splintering. "What's going on?" My voice was barely steady. "It's a celebration," she laughed, grabbing for my arm. I yanked back. "This isn't my party." My parents exchanged a look, one of those wordless glances they'd perfected over the years. Then my father cleared his throat. Now, Lillian, don't make a scene. We thought it would be nice to combine celebrations, since Diana just got promoted as well. Combine. I gestured at the glittering banner, the stack of invitation cards on the entry table. I picked one up, reading aloud with shaking hands. Join us in celebrating Diana Wilson's promotion to senior account manager. I flipped it over. There's nothing about me. Nothing. My mother sighed, impatient. Oh, don't be dramatic. Does it really matter whose name is on the banner? We're all family. It matters when I paid $2,500 for this. My voice rose, trembling with fury. You said this was for me. Diana's smile didn't falter, but her eyes hardened. God, Lillian always making everything about you. Mom and Dad went to all this trouble. Can't you just be happy for me for once, instead of jealous? The word pierced like a blade. Jealous. As if years of being overlooked and underloved boiled down to petty envy. Jealous, I whispered. You've taken everything, every spotlight, every ounce of attention, and now even my money. And I'm jealous. My mother's hand waved dismissively like she was brushing off an annoying fly. Don't ruin Diana's night. A laugh broke from me, bitter and raw. Her night. Her night. I paid for this circus. Gasps rose from a few relatives, but most looked away, pretending to sip their wine. I met my sister's gaze one last time. She looked triumphant, radiant, like she'd won a game I hadn't even known we were playing. And in that moment, I understood. This had never been about family or celebration. This was about humiliation. They wanted me to hope, just so they could crush it in front of everyone. I turned on my heel and walked out the door, the laughter and music swelling behind me, a party I had funded, but was never meant to belong to. The night air hit my face like ice. I stumbled to my car, throat burning, heart hammering. By the time I slammed the door shut and gripped the steering wheel, my hands were shaking with a cold, dangerous fury. On the drive home, streets blurred into streaks of light. My mind reeled back to every slight, every dismissal. Straight A's in school dismissed for Diana's art project. My graduation ignored for her dance recital. My first corporate job overshadowed by her driver's license. Always Diana, never me. By the time I reached my apartment, humiliation had hardened into resolve. I poured myself a glass of wine, sat in the dark, and let the memories roll over me. But amid the flood of old wounds, one memory surfaced sharp and recent. Diana's voice on the phone 2 months ago, panicked, sobbing, begging for help, begging me to save her career from the theft she had committed. I had saved her then. I had given her $5,000, no questions asked. And now she had the gall to steal another $2,500 from me under the guise of family celebration. The total burned in my mind, $7,500. And for the first time in years, I wasn't just hurt. I was ready to fight back. The wine in my glass trembled with the shake of my hand. I took a slow sip, hoping it would quiet the roar in my chest. But nothing could drown the memories that came rushing back. 10 years old, my first report card with all A's proudly taped to the fridge. It lasted 48 hours before my parents replaced it with one of Diana's finger paintings, scribbles of purple suns and lopsided trees. 17. High school graduation with honors. I looked out from the stage into the auditorium, searching for my parents' faces. They weren't there. Later, I learned they'd gone to Diana's dance recital instead. 22. I landed my first real job in marketing after clawing through unpaid internships. We had dinner as a family. I was halfway through describing my responsibilities when my father interrupted. Guess what, everyone? Diana passed her driver's test. The table erupted with applause. My news faded into silence. Always Diana, never me. I pressed the rim of the glass to my lips again, but the bitterness in my mouth wasn't just wine, it was years of being invisible. And then, that night, 2 months ago, the night everything had started to unravel. My phone had rung past midnight, Diana's name flashing across the screen. When I answered, all I heard was sobbing so violent I thought she'd been in an accident. Diana, what happened? Are you hurt? Lillian, oh God, I'm in so much trouble. It took 10 minutes to calm her enough to send me a text, and when it came through, my stomach turned to stone. I've been taking money from the company account. Just small amounts nobody noticed. But last week I took $5,000. There's an audit tomorrow. They'll find out. Please, I need to replace it right away. I swear I'll pay you back next month. Please don't tell anyone. You're the only one I can count on. I stared at the words in disbelief. She'd stolen from her company, not just a little $5,000. And the only solution she saw was me. I should have hung up. I should have told her no. But despite everything, I transferred the money. Thank you, she had sobbed on the line, relief flooding her voice. You saved my life. I'll pay you back so soon. I promise. I love you. I'd believed her. Weeks passed. Excuses stacked like bricks. Car repairs, rent increase, medical bills. Each time her voice, sugary and apologetic each time, swearing she'd pay me next month. But now, after tonight's spectacle, I saw it for what it really was: theft. First from her company, then from me. $7,500. I set my glass down and unlocked my phone, scrolling back through our text chain. The evidence was all there. Her panicked confessions, her pleas, her written acknowledgement that she had stolen money. I stared at the glowing screen, my reflection faint on the black glass. For years, I had swallowed my anger, hoping things would change, hoping my parents would notice me, hoping Diana would respect me. But tonight, watching her smirk beneath golden streamers I had paid for, I understood hope was useless. Something colder began to stir in me, a clarity I'd never felt before. For once, I wasn't going to be their doormat. The question was no longer if I would fight back. It was how. I didn't sleep that night. I sat cross-legged on my couch phone, glowing in the dark, scrolling through every message Diana had sent me. Each one felt like a confession. Around 2 a.m, I pressed call. She picked up on the third ring, her voice loud over music and laughter, still echoing from the party. Hello. I want my money back, I said flatly. No greeting, no pleasantries. All of it. $7,500. A pause, then a laugh, sharp, dismissive. What money? The $5,000 I wired you when you stole from your company, I said. Voice cutting. Plus the $2,500 I gave Mom for what you swore was my party. Don't play dumb, Diana. I have every message saved. The background noise faded like she'd stepped into another room. Look, I told you I'll pay you back when I can. No, I want it now. Her laugh turned into a scoff. Yeah, good luck with that. What are you going to do? Sue me. You didn't make me sign anything. No paper trail, no contract. You've got nothing. The line went dead. She'd hung up. I stared at the phone pulse pounding. My thumb hovered over our text thread again, reading the words she'd typed in desperation. I've been taking money from the company account. There's an audit tomorrow. Please don't tell anyone. She had confessed in writing. I wasn't powerless. Not anymore. The decision wasn't clean, though. My thoughts spiraled, tugging me between guilt and rage. She was still my sister. I had protected her so many times, swallowed so much humiliation. Was I really about to destroy her life? I pictured her descending those stairs tonight, parents glowing beside her as if I didn't exist. I heard her laugh again, that cruel note in her voice. Good luck with that. My chest tightened. Something in me broke, and at the same time, something else, something steelier, snapped into place. On my desk sat a business card tucked neatly in a notebook. Edward Garrett, Diana's boss, a longtime friend of my father's. Every Christmas, he had shaken my hand, warmly told me I was doing well. Last year, he had slipped me this card, smiling. If you ever need anything, give me a call. My hand trembled as I pulled out the card, dialed the number. It rang and rang until his voicemail clicked on. Mr. Garrett, this is Lillian Cornelius. I have information about potential theft from your company's accounts. I believe someone has been transferring money. I can provide proof. Please call me back. I hung up, heart hammering in my chest. My palms were damp, my breath shallow. Had I really just done that? A wave of nausea hit me, followed by a strange calm. There was no undoing it. The line had been crossed. Still, the next few days dragged like quicksand. I went through the motions at work, but every time my phone buzzed, my pulse spiked. Maybe he'd dismiss it as family drama. Maybe Diana had already found a way to cover her tracks. By Wednesday, doubt gnawed at me. I almost convinced myself I'd overreacted until my phone lit up. Edward Garrett. I stepped into an empty conference room before answering. His voice was grave, stripped of the warmth I remembered. Ms. Cornelius, I need to thank you for your information. We've been investigating since your call. My mouth went dry. Did you find anything? We did, and it's worse than you indicated. He exhaled, heavy, tired. Nearly 2 years of systematic withdrawals. Not just Diana, but our head accountant as well. They've been working together. The floor seemed to tilt beneath me. 2 years. About $90,000. Last month alone, $12,000. We've contacted the police. This isn't something we can handle quietly. $90,000. My sister hadn't just been reckless. She had been orchestrating a theft for years, smiling all the while using me as her safety net. I gripped the edge of the table, knuckles white. There was no going back now. The call from Mr. Garrett left me shaken for days. I had expected trouble, maybe Diana losing her job, maybe some quiet shame, but $90,000, 2 years of theft. That was a different monster altogether, and it didn't take long for the storm to find me. Friday night, my phone buzzed with back-to-back calls. First Diana. I let it ring. She left a voicemail anyway, her voice shrill, venomous. "You little snake. You think you're clever. You've ruined everything. Do you even realize what you've done to me?" A string of curses followed, each uglier than the last. I deleted it before she could finish. Then came my mother. Her voice was high, hysterical. "Lillian, how could you do this to your own sister? You've destroyed her life after everything we've done for you." I hung up. By Saturday morning, the pounding on my apartment door rattled the walls. I peered through the peephole. My parents stood outside, faces twisted with rage. "Lillian, open this door right now," my father's voice boomed. I didn't move. "We know you're in there," my mother screeched. "You need to fix this. Call Edward. Tell him to drop the charges." Finally, I spoke through the wood. Calm, cold. "I'm not doing that." "She's your sister," my mother wailed. "They've taken her to the police station. Do you understand what you've done?" "I know exactly what I've done," I said evenly. I told the truth. Diana stole $90,000. That's not a mistake. That's not an accident. That's theft. "She made some poor choices, but she doesn't deserve this," my father barked. "Doesn't deserve it." My composure cracked. I yanked the door open, meeting their shocked faces head on. "I covered for her once. I gave her $5,000 to save her job. Then I gave you $2,500 for a party you swore was for me, and watched you hand it to her instead. How many times do I have to pay for Diana's mistakes? How many times do I have to disappear so she can shine?" "You've always been jealous," my father spat. "Always. From the time you were children." The word echoed sharp as glass. Jealous. Again. "I'm not jealous," I hissed. "I'm tired. Tired of being used. Tired of watching you bail her out of every disaster while pretending I don't exist. You've raised her to believe she can do anything, steal, lie, humiliate, and there will be no consequences. Well, now there are. If you don't fix this," my mother warned, voice quivering with fury, "you are no longer part of this family." I let out a bitter laugh. Was I ever part of it? Silence. My mother's lip trembled. My father's eyes narrowed, but neither answered. "Go help your thief of a daughter," I said, stepping back and closing the door in their faces. Their voices rose on the other side. Sobs, curses, demands. But I didn't listen. I stood with my back against the wood until their footsteps finally receded down the hall. That night, scrolling through my phone, I saw it. A post on Facebook. My mother's profile picture, smiling sweetly, paired with venomous words. "It is with great sadness that we announce that Lillian Cornelius is no longer considered a member of this family. Her betrayal against her sister cannot be forgiven. True loyalty matters more than blood. We ask for privacy during this difficult time." Hundreds of comments flooded beneath. Relatives confused, some defending me, others condemning me without knowing the truth. I set my phone down, staring at the ceiling in the dark. For the first time in my life, the line was clear. I wasn't their daughter anymore. And maybe that was a kind of freedom. The silence that followed was almost eerie. For weeks, no calls, no pounding at my door. Just quiet. I thought maybe they'd decided to ignore me entirely until Mr. Garrett's name appeared on my phone again. His voice was measured, careful. "Ms. Cornelius, I thought you should know your parents came to see me. Your mother even fell to her knees in my office begging me to withdraw the charges. They've taken out a substantial loan to repay the full amount." I closed my eyes. Of course they had. For Diana, they would bleed themselves dry. "Given our history and the restitution," he continued, "I've agreed to withdraw the formal complaint. But Diana and the accountant have been terminated, and I've warned my contacts across the industry. Neither will work in finance again." I thanked him quietly. Though my emotions were tangled, relief that Diana wasn't facing prison, disappointment that once again my parents had shielded her from true consequences. But the universe has a way of balancing scales. 2 months later, my cousin Rachel called. Her voice carried both gossip and pity. "Have you heard what's happening with your dad's business? Mr. Garrett pulled all his investments. Word spread about Diana's theft. No one wants to risk their money with him. He's desperate." I paused, knife hovering over the cutting board. Desperate how? They had to mortgage the house again. And Diana Rachel's voice dropped conspiratorial. "She's working at Marshfields now, the home goods store at the mall, folding towels, stocking candles. That's all she could get. The image flickered in my mind, my sister, who once floated through office towers in designer heels, now in a polyester uniform with a name tag. I didn't feel joy, not exactly, but there was a strange sense of equilibrium, like the ground beneath us had finally leveled. The balance didn't last long. One morning, an email arrived from my parents. Subject line, final contact. I hovered for a long moment before clicking. Lillian. This will be our last communication. We have updated our will to remove you as beneficiary. Diana will inherit everything, as she is the only daughter who has shown true loyalty. Your betrayal has cost us dearly, financially and emotionally. We hope your revenge was worth it. Robert and Margaret Cornelius. I read it once, twice, then clicked delete. No reply, no tears, just a strange calm. They thought this was about money, about inheritance. They still didn't understand it was about self-respect, something I had earned on my own and something Diana had never learned. But late that night, lying in bed, another realization struck me like a knife. The party, the banner, the invitations. It hadn't been my parents' idea at all. It had been Diana's. I could almost hear the conversation, her voice dripping with faux concern when she'd learned about my promotion, convincing my mother to call me to make me believe for once that I mattered, just so she could pull the rug from under me. Not an accident, not a misunderstanding, deliberate cruelty. And that cruelty had cost her everything. When my boss called me into her office a month later, I braced myself for bad news. Instead, she smiled. Lillian, the Seattle branch needs someone with your expertise. It comes with a raise and relocation support. What do you think? Seattle, 1,000 miles away. Far from the whispers, the accusations, the shadow of my family's name. I'll take it, I said without hesitation. The move happened faster than I expected. Within weeks, I was in a small temporary apartment overlooking the gray-blue sprawl of the city. Boxes stacked around me, half unpacked, smelled faintly of cardboard and new beginnings. My first day at the new office, my boss introduced me to the team. Everyone, this is Lillian Cornelius, our new department head. She comes highly recommended. Smiles, handshakes, respect without strings. These people didn't know Diana. They didn't know the years I'd spent as the invisible daughter. To them, I was only what I had built, capable professional worth listening to. That night, I sat alone among boxes with takeout containers on the coffee table. For the first time in months, I felt free. I thought about Diana folding towels under fluorescent lights, my father scrambling to save a sinking business, my mother clutching to a daughter who would never change. I didn't feel revenge. Not really. Just inevitability. They had shaped Diana into who she was, shielded her from accountability until the real world finally caught up, and in protecting her, they had lost me. A text buzzed on my phone. One of my new coworkers inviting me to dinner with the team. My lips curved into a smile. Yes, see you at 7. These people knew nothing of my past, and I didn't need to explain it. For the first time, I wasn't carrying the weight of my family's choices. I poured a glass of wine, stood by the window, and watched the Seattle skyline glitter against the darkening sky. For years, I had wanted one thing: recognition. From my parents. From Diana. But now I realized I didn't need it. Their approval had never been real. What I needed, what I had finally chosen, was dignity. The Cornelius family might have erased me from their will. They might have painted me a traitor. But here in this new city, with nothing but my own name and my own work, I was finally more than their afterthought. I was free.